Welcome. Today's video it is regarding the primer designing. You know that the primer it is a very crucial for the PCR, that is it is a basic requirement for the PCR, that is the in vitro amplification of the DNA. So to have the in vitro amplification of the DNA you have to design, you have to make a primer, and when you are designing the primer you have the two goals, so you have the two aims, and that two aims it is first one it is the specificity and the second one it is the efficiency. That is you have to achieve these two goals when you are going to design a primer, when you are going to make a primer. First one, specificity. This it is your genomic DNA, okay, and from the genomic DNA this part of the genome, this part of the gene you have to amplify. Okay, so when you have to amplify only this region over the genome, at that time your primer it should be how it should go, and it should bind only to that particular region only. It should not bind, it should not complementary base pair anywhere over the genome. That it is the specificity. So your primer it has to go and it has to bind to the target DNA only, and it has to amplify that target DNA only, and that it is called as the specificity. And as the primer it is specifically binding to the particular DNA sequence, then and then it is allowing the amplification of the DNA, that is it is going to make the two copies of the target DNA, that is it is going to double the target DNA, and that it is called as the efficiency. So when you are designing the primer, there should be the high specificity and there should be high efficiency of the PCR. And to achieve these two goals, you have to consider the properties of the primers. What should be the properties of the primer when you are designing the primer? First one, it is the length of the primer. The length of the primer, it should be in between the 18 to 25 nucleotides. Okay, so to have the high specificity, the length of the oligonucleotide, it should be the longer one. Okay, and that it is 18 to 25 nucleotides. Now, this length, it may vary according to the DNA that you are going to use into the PCR. If you are using the cDNA, okay, if you are using cDNA, at that time, that length of the oligonucleotide, the primer, it is going to be shorter one, about the 15 nucleotide. But when you have to amplify the DNA from the gene families, okay, when you have to amplify the DNA from the gene families where the sequences they are very much similar to each other, which are the homologous to each other, at that time the specificity it has to be increased, and the specificity it is going to increase as the length of the primer it is going to increase. So when you have to amplify the DNA from the gene families like the immunoglobulin family, at that time you have to increase the length of the primer, and that it is about the 28 to the 32 to 35 nucleotides. Okay, so the length it is going to increase. So according to the template that you are going to use, the length of the primer it is going to vary. Next one, it is the composition of the primer. Okay, it is regarding the GC content. Okay, GC content of the primer it should be of about the 40 to 60%. Okay, so to have the proper annealing of the primer to the template DNA, okay, the primer it should consist of about the 40 to 60% of the GC. And next it is what? The primer it should not be self-complementary. Okay, self-complementary means what? This it is your primer, and this primer now it is going to self-complementary to each other, and it is going to form a hairpin structure. Okay, and this hairpin structure it is going to be formed when there is the presence of the repetitive DNA sequences. Suppose here it is a GC, in between then there is here it is a T, and here it is a A, T. So this one, okay, this part you can see Okay, it is a repetitive DNA sequence. So these are, okay, these sequences, they are complementary to each other, and as they are complementary to each other, it can complementary base pair, and as they are going to complementary base pair, it is going to form a hairpin. Such a hairpin structure, it is unable to complementary base pair to the template DNA, because when a primer, it has to get annealed, it has to bound to the DNA, it should be in a linear form, then and then it can complementary base pair, otherwise it cannot. If there is a self-complementary sequences, they are present, there is a presence of this hairpin structure, this part, okay, this part, it is not available to get annealed to the template DNA. So what will happen? There is a no annealing of the primer to the template, and as there is a no annealing, there is a no amplification of the DNA. So such a type of the structure formation, it has to be avoided when you are designing the primer. That is, there should not be presence of the repetitive or the self-complementary sequences in the primer, as well as there should not be presence of the sequences, okay, sequences which are allowing the primer dimer formation. Okay, what is this? It is a primer dimer. Okay, the two primers, the forward primer and the reverse primer. Okay, forward primer and the reverse primer, they are going to complementary base pair to each other. Okay, because there are the sequences which are able to complementary base pair to each other. So what will happen here? That primer dimer, it is going to be formed, and as there is a primer dimer formation, the primers, they are not available to complementary base pair between the template and the primer. Okay, there will not be formation of the primer template. Okay, the base pairing between the primer template. So this, okay, such type of the sequences which are allowing the primer dimer formation, that sequences, it has to be avoided when you are designing the primer. Okay, that is, there should not be the complementarity between the primer pair. Okay, that is, you have to avoid the formation of the primer dimer. Now the next and the most important, it is the melting temperature, that it is the Tm. From the Tm only you have to set the annealing temperature. So this, okay, this it is a forward primer and this it is a reverse primer. The two primers you are using, okay, for the amplification of the DNA. Okay, so when you are using the two primers, okay, and you are allowing the two primers to get annealed, what do you think, what should be the temperature? The temperature should be such that the two primers, they are going to complementary base pair at that particular temperature. Suppose in the last video we have seen that most of the time the annealing temperature, it is a 55 degree Celsius. So here, okay, when the temperature of the annealing, it has been set 55 degrees Celsius, at that time both of the primers, they should get complementary base pair to the template DNA. Okay, so how this 55 degrees Celsius or how the annealing temperature it is going to be set? It is set according to the melting temperature of the primers. Okay, so the two primers that you are going to use, the melting temperature of the two primers, okay, the temperature at which the DNA, it is a half denatured, that it is a melting temperature. That melting temperature of the two primers, it should be the similar or it should be near to each other, so that you can set the annealing temperature. If the difference between the temperature, okay, difference between the melting temperature of the two primers, it is very high, okay, that is, one it is of about the 60 degrees Celsius, one it is 51 degrees Celsius, then okay, then you cannot set any annealing temperature, okay, because the difference between the two melting temperatures of the primer, it is a very larger one. So you have to design a primer in a such a way that the melting temperature of the two primers, it should be how? It should be near to each other. About 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, it is accepted between the two primers. Okay, and after amplification, okay, after amplification of the DNA, you are getting these two DNA molecules. Okay, the melting temperature of this double stranded DNA and the melting temperature of these primers, okay, there should be minimum of the difference of about 10 degree Celsius. Okay, so when you are designing the primer, at that time you have to consider the melting temperatures of the two primers. They should be how? They should be near to each other, about a 2 to 3 degrees Celsius difference, it is accepted one. And after the amplification of the DNA, the double stranded DNA that you are getting, its melting temperature, it should be, okay, it should be how? It should be not more than the 10 degrees Celsius than the melting temperature of the primers. Okay, so this it is regarding the melting temperature, and it is very important when you are going to set the annealing temperature. Okay, now the next point, it is the 3' termini. How your 3' termini should be there? This, it is your template, this it is your primer, it is the 5' end of the primer, this it is the 3' end of the primer. Okay, so here it is a 3' OH, incoming nucleotide is going to be added at the 3' OH. And the incoming nucleotide, it is going to be added by the DNA polymerases when this 3' termini, it is properly base paired with the template. That is the extension, polymerization, it will be there when this 3' end, it is properly base paired with whom? The template DNA. Suppose in this way. Okay, it is not. The 3' termini, it is not base paired. Then what will happen? The DNA polymerases, it cannot add, okay, it cannot add the nucleotide to this primer, that is, there will not be any polymerization. So to have this stable structure, okay, to have the stable structure between the primer and the template, okay, at the 3' end, okay, at this 3' end, it is suggested that there should be the presence of the GC, okay, or the CG, okay, GC or the CG, it should be present at the 3' end. That is, the G, it should be present at the 3' end. Why? Because when you are going to set the annealing temperature, at that time, there should not be the melting of the 3' end. Okay, that is, this 3' end, it should be complementary base paired with the template DNA. That is, this structure, it should be a stable one, and the stability, okay, the stability of the primer template junction, it is given when there is a presence of the G. So for the stability purpose, okay, for the stability purpose, the 3' termini, it is going to be with the GC, okay, it is going to be with the G, okay, so that there will be no dropping, there is no falling of the 3' end. That 3' end, it is properly get annealed, it is properly get annealed to the template DNA, so that when there is an extension, when you are going to allow, when your DNA sequence or when your primer template junction, it is going into the extension, at that time the DNA polymerases, it is allowing the addition of the nucleotides at the 3' end. Okay, this is regarding how your 3' end should be there, how it should be, it should have the GC at the 3' end, but there should not be the repetition of these GCs, okay, at the 3' end. More than 3 times if there is a presence of the GC, like this, GC, 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 it is present, okay, then what will happen? There will be the primer dimer formation, okay. You have to consider here, okay, you have to keep in the mind there are the two primers, one it is a forward, one it is a reverse primer, and if this GC, it is going to be there, okay, if this GC, it is going to be there on the both strands, okay, that is if there is a repetition of the GC at this 3' end, then what will happen? There may be the primer dimer formation. So when you are designing the primer at the 3' end, there should be the GC, but there should not be the repetition of the GC. Okay. Now the next one, it is the 5' termini. How should be the 5' termini? You can add the sequences at the 5' termini. Okay, suppose you want to add a restriction site. You can add the restriction site. Okay, at the 5' termini, you can add the promoter or any cis-acting element. It can be added at the 5' termini. Suppose this is a template, this it is your primer, and here you have added the restriction site at the 5' terminal. Okay, after amplification, what you are going to find that this sequence restriction site, it is going to be there. In the next cycle, you are going to observe that the restriction site, it is on both of the DNA strands. So in the amplified product, you are getting these sequences. Okay, the sequences into your DNA. Okay, either you are going to add a promoter, you are going to add a restriction site, or any another element, any other sequences you can add at the 5' end, and that it can be present into your amplified DNA product. Okay, next it is the degenerate primer. Okay, so this degenerate primer, it is going to be for the degenerate PCR. Now for the designing of the primer, what is required? The sequence of the DNA, it is required. The template DNA sequence, it is required. And that template DNA sequence, if it is not known to you and you know about the protein sequence, okay, what you know about the protein sequence, that is the amino acid sequence, it is known to you, then you can design a primer. But here, now these amino acids, they are going to be represented by the multiple codons. That is, there is a degeneracy of the codons. So here, when you are designing the primer according to the sequence of the amino acids of the protein, at that time you are designing the primer. How? By using the multiple codons. Okay. For one amino acid, there are multiple codons. That multiple codons, they are going to be added into these primers, and the primer, it will be called as a degenerate primer, and the PCR, it is called as a degenerate PCR. So in this way, you can design the degenerate primer. Last one, it is a placement of the priming site. If you want mutations into the DNA, at that time you may design the primer site which is going to change the nucleotide sequences. So in this way, there are the 9 points you have to consider when you are designing the primer. That is, there are the 9 properties which are going to be with the primer. First one, it is the length of the primer. Second, it is the composition of the primer. There should not be the self-complementarity or the repeated DNA sequences in the primer. The two primers, they should not self-complementary base pair. The melting temperature of two primers, it should near to each other. 3' termina, it should be with the GC. The sequences at 5' termina, it can be added. Then you can design the degenerate primer, as well as there can be the placement of the priming site. Okay, I think you may have understood the concept primer designing. If you are like my video, please subscribe my channel and also share my videos with your friends so the knowledge it is going to spread. Thank you.